Fade in. A cold, sterile FBI interview room. A single chair. A folder on the table. A one-way mirror. Agent voice, calm, analytical. Charm is a powerful tool. Most people use it to get what they want, but some use it to hide what they are. The man we were hunting had no record, no fingerprints on file, no social media, no financial trail. But everywhere he went, someone disappeared, someone was defrauded, or someone's life quietly fell apart. We didn't know his real name. We didn't know his origin. We didn't know his motive. We only knew one thing. He could make anyone trust him, even us. The file lands on my desk at precisely 7:42 a.m. Agent Marcus Reddick, FBI behavioral analyst, Quantico, 13 years studying psychopaths, compulsive manipulators, deceptive personalities. I know patterns. I know voices. I know eyes. But this case felt different. The file had no name, only a code name. The Charmer. Photos were clipped to the first page. Not surveillance photos. Not mugshots. Selfies. Taken by victims. Smiling with him. Arms around him. Laughing with him. He blended into their lives effortlessly. Like he belonged there. Like he'd always been there. In one photo, a woman kissed him on the cheek. He wasn't looking at the camera. He was looking at her. Calm. Confident. Calculating. I closed the folder and whispered, "He's good." We tracked him across 8 states using credit card fraud patterns, phone tower triangulation, interviews with victims, cash withdrawal sequences, and one rare detail, his smile. Every face recognition software flagged him incorrectly. Some thought he was 3 different men. Some flagged him as a missing person. One even confused him for an actor. He had 47 known aliases: Evan Blake, Liam Carver, Jonathan Hale, Caleb Brooks, Daniel North. Each identity crafted with surgical precision. Documents, social circles, even personality traits tailored to each region. But the frightening part? Every victim described him the same way. He felt familiar. He made me feel safe. He listened better than anyone I'd ever met. He understood me. He wasn't like other men. And then, he ruined my life. The FBI only became involved after victim number 12. Her name was Eliza Hart, a 34-year-old accountant from Richmond. She called the police whispering, "He knows I called. Please hurry." But by the time officers arrived, door open, phone on the ground, tea spilled, chairs knocked over. Eliza was gone, but what she left behind changed everything. A single envelope taped to the underside of her kitchen table. Inside it, a letter with only 2 words. "He's perfect," and a photograph. A blurry shot of him entering her home at night. His face half in shadow, but smiling. Always smiling. We finally had a timeline, and a reason. He wasn't just charming women. He wasn't just conning them. He was hunting them. I spent weeks listening to victim interviews. One thing about charmers, they are mirrors. They reflect the version of yourself you most want to see. But he was different. He didn't reflect. He predicted. He knew what his victims wanted before they said it. And then it hit me. He wasn't just charming. He was profiling them. Like I profile criminals. Every victim described the same 3 behaviors. He asked precise, intimate questions. He remembered every detail. He adjusted himself to match their needs. He was building emotional replicas of himself to infiltrate their lives. A psychological chameleon. I turned to Agent Lorna Pike. He's not improvising. He's studying. Then we received the voicemail, left by Eliza Hart, time-stamped 2 minutes before she vanished. Her voice trembled through the speakers. He came back. I didn't think Static, he said the FBI will never catch him. Static crackles. He said he knows how you think. I froze. He knows how we think. Meaning, he wasn't only charming victims. He was charming us. He was studying our patterns, our tactics, our blind spots. And then the final whisper. He said he's one of you. The room went dead silent. We raided Eliza's home again. Behind a loose tile in the bathroom wall, we found his journals. Not diaries, Case logs. Inside were notes written in precise handwriting. Agent Reddick, predictable, emotionally stoic, avoids risk. Agent Pike, impulsive, compassionate, leverage sympathy. Agent Donahue, marriage failing, easily distracted. And then, they will chase the wrong trail. If I leave Richmond at 7:46 a.m., the timestamp? 15 hours before Eliza called 911. He had planned her abduction. After predicting our reaction, this wasn't a criminal running from us. This was a man playing with us. And winning. 3 days later, a letter arrived at Quantico. Handwritten, beautiful calligraphy, addressed to me, Agent Reddick. It began, "You're the only one worth my time." Then, "I don't run from the FBI. I run with the FBI. You investigate motives. I create them." And the final line, "Catch me if you can, if you think you can." My heart sank. This wasn't egotistical boasting. It was an invitation, a game, and he was daring us to play. Fade in, Agent Reddick standing in front of a two-way mirror inside Quantico. His reflection overlaps a sketch of the suspect. Reddick, quiet, analytic, he doesn't just disappear. He dissolves. Narrator, dark, steady to catch a ghost. You don't look at where he is. You look at where he pretends to be. And with this man, everything was a performance, even his personality. Every victim described him differently. Brown eyes, blue eyes, hazel eyes. Impossible. Until we found victim number 8, a nurse named Kendra Morales. She survived because she sensed something wrong early. Her voice trembled as she described the one detail nobody else had noticed. Kendra, his eyes, they were the warmest eyes I'd ever seen. But when he thought I wasn't looking, they went cold. Flat, like he turned himself off. This was the pattern break we needed. He didn't change names. He changed identities. He crafted personality masks depending on who he charmed. But his eyes, those flat, predatory switches, were real. Agent Pike wrote on the board, "Doesn't feel emotions, mimics them." In other words, not a con artist, a psychopath. We finally caught a lead. A tax form from an apartment in Philadelphia listed one unusual purchase. $1,260 spent at an art supply store. Suspicious. Art supplies don't match the pattern. So we pulled the CCTV footage. The cashier remembered him. Cashier. He said he needed supplies for a workshop he was teaching on self-expression. Reddick leans forward. Reddick. Workshop? He doesn't teach. The cashier nods. Cashier. He does. Every month. We tracked down the workshop location. A community center. Room 16. Empty. But at the back of the room, we find a bulletin board. Courtroom sketches. Portraits. Practices. Then one sketch pinned dead center. A remarkably accurate drawing of Agent Marcus Reddick. My face. My eyes. My expression. He's studying me. Drawing me. Understanding me. Preparing for me. Agent Pike whispers. He's profiling the profiler. Back in Quantico, we analyze the journals recovered from Eliza's apartment. On page 74, Reddick avoids emotional entanglement. He relies on logic. He mistrusts intuition, make him doubt his instincts. Another page, Pike is the opposite. She trusts intuition over evidence, create conflicting clues, turn them against each other. And then, the FBI is strongest as a unit. Break the unity. Agent Pike closes the journal sharply. Pike, he's playing a psychological chess match. I shake my head. Reddick, no, this isn't chess. This is puppetry. For weeks, he left no digital trace. Then suddenly he makes one, on purpose. A login attempt to an FBI training database comes from a public computer in Baltimore. But he didn't try to break in. He typed the wrong password, intentionally. He wanted us to know he was there. Agents swarm the library. We find nothing. Not one fingerprint. Not one hair. Not one fiber. But at the entrance, taped to bulletin board, is a small folded note addressed to Agent Reddick. Inside, a single sentence. I like the new haircut. A shiver goes down my spine. I got that haircut 12 hours earlier, meaning he was close, watching, studying, predicting. 2 nights later, victim number 14's phone is found outside a diner, unlocked, battery at 3%. Only one video saved on the device. We press play. The charmer sits in a dimly lit room, wearing a casual sweater. Soft smile, voice warm. The charmer: "You don't have to chase me, Agent Reddick. You can just ask." He leans closer to the camera. The charmer: "You think I choose victims based on weakness, but I don't." Smiles: "I choose them based on hope." Pauses. Hope is easier to break. He closes his eyes for a moment, then opens them cold, flat, empty. The charmer: "You profile monsters, but you don't know what it feels like to be one." He ends with, "Let the game continue." Agent Pike returns from a trip to the records archive trembling. She drops a file on the table. Inside, a birth certificate from Ohio. Name: Matthew Cole Whitmore, D.O.B., January 6. Parents: deceased in a house fire when he was 12, survived by one brother. A brother? We didn't know he had a brother. Pike continues. The brother is a federal agent, Agent Damon Whitmore. But Damon died 5 years ago in a car crash, meaning the charmer might not be copying agents. He might be mimicking his brother, a man he admired, envied, obsessed over, wanted to become. His charm? Not natural. Learned. Perfected. Weaponized. At 2:14 a.m., Quantico receives an emergency alert. Unusual login activity inside the FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit. Reddick and Pike sprint to the BAU lab. The security officer is unconscious on the floor. The main computer is open, a USB drive plugged in. On the screen, a message typed in real time. "I know how you think, Marcus." Another line appears. "Check your voicemail." Reddick grabs his phone with shaking hands. New voicemail. Unknown number. He presses play. The charmer's voice. Soft, warm, friendly. The charmer: "I'm not inside your office, Marcus." Pause. "I'm already inside your mind." Then he laughs. Light, charming, dangerous. And the line goes dead. Reddick slams his phone down. He knows now the charmer isn't running from the FBI. He's guiding us, manipulating us, leading us exactly where he wants. Fade in. Quantico parking lot. 3:12 a.m. Agents rushing between buildings. Sirens flash. Narrator: FBI profiler Tone. Most fugitives run from the badge, but this one ran toward it. He didn't avoid the FBI. He studied us. He manipulated us. He infiltrated us. The man we were hunting wasn't just a criminal. He was a mirror, and he reflected back everything we feared. Agent Reddick, RPOV, sits at a round table with Agent Lorna Pike, Deputy Director Shaw, Digital Forensics Chief Ramon, a special consultant from the CIA. On the screen is a recovered USB drive the charmer left in the BAU lab. It contains only one video file. Shaw hesitates, then presses play. The charmer appears on screen in a dim room, leaning casually against the wall like he's speaking to old friends. The charmer: "Agents, I've decided to make things interesting." Smiles: "You profile monsters, but I'm not a monster." Shakes his head gently. "I am possibility." He pauses, then points at the camera. The charmer: "You want to know who I really am? Follow the clues, but don't follow them too closely." The screen cuts to black. Then, coordinates, typed in red. Agent Pike whispers, "That's rural Pennsylvania." Reddick mutters, "He wants us to go there." Shaw makes a call anyway. A convoy of SUVs creeps up an abandoned driveway leading to a decaying farmhouse. The front door is unlocked, dust everywhere, papers stacked neatly, photos on the walls. But the photos are disturbing. Children from different families, women from different states, smiling couples posing with a man whose face is missing, cut out with surgical precision. And then they find it, a room covered in FBI clippings, agent profiles, BAU case files, crime scene photos, social media screenshots of agents' families. Agent Pike gasps. Oh my God, he'd been tracking us for years. Reddick moves closer to a pinned photograph. It's him, a candid shot taken outside his house on a Sunday morning with a coffee cup in hand. He whispers, "He's been following me." Pinned above the photo is a handwritten note. To understand someone, you must watch them when they think no one's watching. Reddick feels his throat tighten. This isn't a chase. This isn't a pursuit. This is an obsession. Back at Quantico, analysts dig into the charmer's real identity. Matthew Cole Whitmore. His brother, Agent Damon Whitmore, was a decorated federal agent who died in a crash. But the crash wasn't an accident. New forensic analysis reveals brake line tampered, accelerant residue, damaged steering column. Someone sabotaged his car. Agent Pike whispers, what if Matthew didn't want his brother dead? What if he wanted to replace him? Reddick stares at the growing timeline. Pieces begin to align. Matthew studied FBI procedure obsessively. He learned manipulation from a childhood of forced religious perfection. He idolized his brother. He tried to become him. After Damon died, Matthew stepped into Damon's world, but from the shadows, motive emerges. He wants to infiltrate the FBI, not to destroy it, but to belong to it. A twisted imitation of the brother he lost. Reddick murmurs, he doesn't hate us. He wants to be us. A call comes from Cleveland PD. A woman claims to have survived an encounter with a man too charming to be real. Reddick and Pike fly out immediately. They interview her, Alexis Rowe, 29. Alexis trembles as she speaks. I met him at a bookstore. He asked about my favorite authors, remembered everything I said, and a week later, he knew my childhood stories better than I did. Reddick leans forward. Did he ever reveal anything personal? Alexis nods slowly. He cried once. He said he lost someone he'd spent his whole life trying to impress. The brother. And then he said something strange. Alexis takes a deep breath. He said, I don't know who I am when I'm alone. Reddick freezes. Pike whispers, that's not confidence. That's identity fracture. Alexis continues. He never hurt me. He just disappeared one night. But before he left, he said, one day the world will know me, but not yet. Back in Quantico, chaos erupts. A call comes into Reddick's direct line. Unknown number. Reddick answers. Reddick. This is Agent Reddick. Silence. Then, the charmer's voice. Gentle, soft, almost disappointed. The charmer. You went through my things, Marcus. That wasn't very polite. Reddick stiffens. Reddick. Where are you? The charmer. Smiles to the phone. I'm exactly where you predicted I'd be. Pauses. But you're still not close. Pike tries tracing the call, but the system is being overridden. The call is bouncing through FBI servers. He's calling them using their own infrastructure. Reddick clenches his jaw. Reddick, what do you want? A long, calm breath. The charmer. I want you to understand me, the way I understand you. Static crackles. The charmer. And Marcus, please stop assuming I'm running. Call drops. Silence. Pike looks terrified. Pike, if he's not running, what is he doing? Reddick answers. He's positioning. Digital forensics identify a new lead. Purchases made using one of his aliases. Ticket to Nashville. Hotel room booked. Rideshare logs. Coffee shop receipts. A clear trail. Too clear. Pike frowns. This isn't his style. Reddick writes one word on the board. Lure. They realize he's not hiding. He's inviting them. Deputy Director Shaw authorizes a full tactical operation. SWAT, Marshals, FBI, plain clothes. They storm the Nashville hotel. The room is empty, except for a chair. A single chair, facing a laptop. The laptop turns on automatically. A video begins. The charmer sits in a field at sunset, smiling. The charmer. Marcus, Lorna, I knew you'd come. Pike grips the table. He continues. You followed everything I wanted you to follow. Every clue. every breadcrumb, every path I paved. His smile widens. But while you were here, he tilts his head slightly. I was there. The screen glitches, switches cameras. Suddenly, they see Quantico's entrance at that very moment. Live, the charmer stands in the doorway and walks inside. Fade in. Security alarms blaring at Quantico. Agents sprinting to secure entrances. Red emergency strobes flashing against white walls. Narrator, FBI profiler tone for months. We chase him. For months, he vanished into new identities. For months, he stayed one move ahead. But in the end, he didn't run. He walked straight into the most secure FBI facility on the East Coast. Not to surrender, not to negotiate, but to finish the game he started. Reddick and Pike race back from Nashville, sirens screaming. Reddick, he's not here to attack us. He's here to prove something. They burst into the main lobby. Agents are restraining a man on his knees. Hands raised, calm expression, relaxed breathing. It's him, the charmer. Without disguise, without resistance, without fear, he looks up at Reddick and smiles softly. The charmer, Marcus, you made good time. Reddick steps closer cautiously. Reddick, you walked into Quantico. Why? The charmer tilts his head as if disappointed. The charmer, isn't obvious? You learn more about a hunter by letting him catch you. They place him in interview room 6. He sits calmly, hands folded, posture perfect. No lawyer, no demands, no panic, just charm. Pure, disarming charm. Reddick enters slowly and sits across from him. The charmer smiles like an old friend. The charmer, you know, Marcus, most agents think interrogation is about confrontation. But you listen. Reddick ignores the flattery. Reddick, why target these women? Why stalk them? Why manipulate them? The charmer's eyes soften. The charmer, I never targeted them. I connected with them. Leans forward. They were lonely. They were searching. I didn't create their emptiness. I filled it. Reddick, you destroyed their lives. A calm smile. The charmer, I completed their stories. Not all stories end happily. Reddick feels a chill. He isn't talking like a criminal. He's talking like an artist. Reddick pushes harder. Reddick, you wanted to replace your brother. The charmer's smile freezes. For the first time, something breaks in his expression. Reddick, you admired him, envied him, and after he died, you decided the only way to honor him was to become the version of him you imagined. Slowly, the charmer blinks. The charmer, you've been reading my journals, Reddick, and you planned everything to step into a shadow. He laughs softly. The charmer, no, Marcus, I didn't want to become my brother. His voice drops to a whisper. I wanted to replace the world that took him from me. Reddick stiffens. The charmer, the FBI failed him. They buried his case. They forgot him. Smiles gently. I wanted them to remember. I wanted you to remember. Reddick realizes the truth. This was never about the victims. It was about the FBI. A decades-long vendetta. The charmer suddenly shifts the conversation. The charmer. Marcus, do you know why I chose you? Reddick doesn't respond. The charmer. Because you're the closest thing I found to competing with me. He leans forward. The charmer. You isolate yourself. You don't let people in. You hide behind logic because feelings terrify you. You don't profile criminals. You profile yourself through us. Reddick's jaw tightens. He shouldn't respond, but the charmer knows exactly where to press. The charmer. You and I, we see people the same way. He smiles. The charmer. And that's why you'll never catch me. Reddick narrows his eyes. Reddick, we already have. The charmer's smile widens. The charmer. No, Marcus. You detain me. He taps the table gently. The charmer. That's not the same thing. 3 hours later, agents escort the charmer to transfer holding. The hallway is quiet. Clean. Silent. Sterile. A guard checks his file. Something's wrong. The charmer's file is empty. The system shows no arrest record, no fingerprints, no name, no mugshot, nothing. Pike panics. Pike! He wiped the system. He wiped everything. From inside the building. Backup systems crash simultaneously. Every camera in the hallway shuts off. The lights flicker. For 3 seconds, darkness. When the lights return, the charmer is gone. A guard lies unconscious. The cell door is open. A message is scrawled on the glass in marker. Thank you for the tour. Quantico goes into lockdown, but he's already outside, on foot, merging into a crowd of employees, walking away calmly, charming, smiling, normal. He vanishes into daylight, like a man leaving a meeting. At 6:47 p.m., Reddick receives a text message. Unknown number. You were right about one thing, Marcus. Another message. I never wanted to run. A third. I wanted to be seen. And then a final photo arrives. It's Reddick. Taken from across the parking lot 3 seconds earlier. He spins around. Sees nothing. Just agents heading to their cars. Just civilians walking by. Just strangers passing. One of them is him. He's here. Close. Watching. Narrator. Fugitives run. Criminals hide. Monsters lurk in shadows. But the charmer, he does none of that. He walks among us. Quiet. Confident. Invisible. A man with no identity and every identity. A man who doesn't avoid the FBI, but uses them, learns from them, studies them. A man who fooled experts trained to see through lies by being the one thing every human trusts. He was charming, and somewhere tonight, he's looking for his next mirror, his next mask, his next admirer, his next victim, his next Agent Reddick. Fade to black.